welcome back to my channel, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. Okay, today we're going to talk about Alaskan Bush People, stories that they don't want you to hear. The first thing I want to talk about is how the Browns claim that the government burned down Brownstown. Basically, they say that the cabin was in the wrong place on public land. Okay, so this all went down in the first season. So there's been a lot of speculation that that actually never happened, that the cabin really did burn down, but it wasn't by the government. This has never been able to be proven. So they've had a lot of scrutiny over the Browns' claim that the government had burnt down the cabin. And so then in season 2, so Billy kind of backtracked the story, and basically he just said that his cabin burnt down and he wasn't at home. I'm pretty sure that some network attorneys had something to do with the backtracking. The show is basically based on, them living out in the wilderness. They're completely isolated where you wouldn't have any neighbors. But that's actually not the case. In the first season that they were filming, there were definitely neighbors around that got ticked off that they were there. So I guess the production crew, had a lot of cars around, and it really just upset the neighbors. And it's also been noted that the property that the Browns were living on during the first season was easily accessible just off a dirt road right off the highway. So not so isolated at all. And that there's even a pizza shop very close by called Grizzly's Pizza. I'm going to show you pictures of the pizza place. And the pizza place is only about a half a mile away from where their isolated living was. And so during the first season, it's portrayed on the show that the family's winter doom that they were going through was really helped out by neighbors, including the Grizzly Pizza place. So then they left their first cabin. After leaving the first cabin site that was eventually assembled by the locals and neighborly help, they relocated to an island called Chichagof. I don't even know how to pronounce it. And apparently it's like even deeper into the wilderness. And so this island that they had retreated to or had moved to is actually a popular tourist destination spot. So this place has like zip lines, museums, restaurants, local shops. It even has its own port for cruise ships. Not so wildernessy. Well, it is wildernessy, but they do have a lot of amenities. So the locals, took note that they were there. They say that the Browns actually took a float plane into Brownstown whenever they were doing the filming. And when they're not shooting for the series at Brownstown, which apparently is Brownstown is the only thing that they're using it for is for the series. I guess the Browns family was staying at a lodge called Icy Strait Lodge. I guess it's in Hoona, Alaska. And I think that's how you say it. And they were, reported that they were not only staying there, that the locals could see them coming and going from the lodge. So it was very obvious that they were staying there instead of staying at Brownstown. Okay, so let's talk about Noah for a minute. Noah had a date with some hot California actress. Sometime between season 4 and season 5, the Browns family was down in California, where Noah had met some girl, and her name is Karina Kaufman. So when they were back at Brownstown, she had accepted an invite from Noah to come back to Brownstown. And then that is where their date was filmed. Right after that weird date, awkward experience had filmed, this girl was actually tracked down on social media, and she apparently is an actress that does like bit parts and walk-ons, which sort of suggests that maybe the show had courted her to help like drive ratings, that it wasn't a real authentic encounter or date, that somehow he met her maybe being pushed by the show. And if you watch the date, it's pretty awkward. You can actually see the episode where Noah sings a song to this girl about his heartbreak from his ex-girlfriend, and so there doesn't quite seem to be so much romance between them. And speaking of dating, Gabe has an experience with that. Okay, there's this girl named Christina O'Malley, whose mother, Ramona, reports that her daughter was tricked into having conversations with Gabe Brown. So Ramona claims that Susie Carter, she owns the dating website for AlaskaMen.com. She claims that Susie Carter actually courted Christina, her daughter, after her daughter had signed up for a profile. And then soon after she opened her account, Christina was then mysteriously contacted by the Alaskan Bush People producers, who eventually arranged a phone call with Gabe. And that phone call was recorded under the premise that it was for the dating show. So Christina thinks that she's waiting around for the next stage of the show. Christina was then brushed off by Susie Carter, who told her that Gabe wasn't feeling so well. And because he wasn't feeling so well, he was so upset that they couldn't bring her to Alaska. So that Gabe and Christina's phone call was edited during a segment on the show, which then they even used like still images of Christina. So not live, nothing transpired. They just edited it to look like that and used stills of Christina. So of course then Christina and Ramona were completely furious that this had happened. It was edited that way. I mean, I think I would be too, for sure, that it got all twisted and turned around and that's not even actually what happened. So I guess it just goes to show you the lengths that they'll go through for ratings. Okay, and another thing about them is that the Browns family actually ran their own website for years before the show had happened. So before they were known as the Alaskan Bush People, the Browns family called themselves the Alaskan Wilderness Family. So Billy claims that the website was originally created to promote children's books that he had written. I guess basically these books were written actually by Bam, like on a whim, when they would visit the harbor shacks when they were going to get supplies. And they were able to get internet temporarily. So it kind of shatters the idea that these free-spirited family have no concept of modern technology. Because clearly they do. Okay, so in season 1, the show actually goes out of its way to show that this family, that they completely despise modern inconveniences. And the show basically suggests that all of the kids have no idea how to use an iPhone. They don't know who Kim Kardashian is. But if you take a trip down over to YouTube, you can actually see that every single one of these kids is pretty computer savvy. You can see on their YouTube videos, they're promoting Billy's book. And the channel features, tidbits of their perfectly civilized lives. Okay, and I really want to talk about Sabrina the cow. Here she is. I think she's my favorite character on the entire show. So Billy supposedly arranged for a purchase of a cow, and this cow's name is Sabrina. The only problem is that getting the cow from where he purchased her at, back to Brownstown is like a logistical nightmare. So there's an episode called All That Matters. Somehow they got the cow over to their home. They achieved this by making a makeshift pen for the cow, and put this makeshift pen onto a makeshift barge and shipped her out to their house, out to Brownstown. Basically, you see this cow going through stormy waters through Alaska over to Brownstown. This whole thing of shipping the cow to Brownstown is completely staged. Okay, so there was an interview done of a gentleman named Hans Wolfberg. He's the owner of Edelweiss Dairy. He states that Sabrina the cow was transferred directly from the dairy to Brownstown, and that his daughter Jan, which is Sabrina's owner, she had went there and stayed with the cow so that she could properly teach the family how to milk her and do everything that they needed to do to take care of her while they had her. And then eventually Sabrina got adopted out to a family. So the Browns only actually had her for 1 month. That's actually all that I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, then please subscribe to my channel. And if you want to get more videos like this, so hit the bell so you can be notified. Bye!